Hey all you cool cats and kittens, welcome back to Remote Learning with Miss Corwin. We are going to be continuing our narrative writing stories and we are now on day 11. So let's jump into it. So again, after brainstorming and preparing for the past few weeks, we are going to continue writing our stories. And this time I forgot to change this. It should say body paragraph 2. So we will be working on our second body paragraph today. In this body paragraph, we can finally talk about the most exciting parts of our story that happened. However, we're only going to tell about half of the most exciting thing. So I'll give you an example of my own story. But just because of the way these stories kind of flow, it flows a little bit easier if you kind of start telling us a little bit about the most exciting part, and then for our next paragraph, we're going to talk about the most exciting part. So some of the slides that are going to help you today are going to be the same slides from before. It's going to be slides number 7, 10, and 11 for inspiration. Those are the slides that helped you to write those really strong, interesting sentences. And you didn't just write them for nothing. We wrote them so that we can include them in our stories. So this is what slide number 7 looks like, I believe. And I think this one's either 10 or 11. So here are those little details to try to include. So in my story about seeing the fireflies, I already included the sound of the crickets, I think. I don't remember, we'll see. I can include about how excited I was about sneaking out. I can include the detail about the heat in the air and the flickering of the fireflies. And for here, I could talk about how I see the soft glow of the fireflies flickering above my head. I hear the symphony of a million crickets. The summer heat was suffocating, but I didn't care, so that's how I felt. The smell of rain lingered in the air. Like I said, I don't know how to explain it, but I could taste the pine in the forests around me. So those are all those senses. I highly recommend including those sentences using your senses because they're really strong and really neat. So I'm going to start again with my very first paragraph and show you how it kind of flows. So I'm going to start here. It says, "Mom, are we there yet?" I complained. We had already been driving for hours, and even though there was room to walk around in the RV, I was tired of not being able to go outside. I was having a lot of fun on this trip across the country, but being stuck in an RV for hours made my brain feel like it was melting. "We'll be there soon," Mom replied. I couldn't wait to get to the campsite and finally get out of here. We pulled into the campsite just as the sun was beginning to set. Even though it was nearly nighttime, the heat of the day still gripped us and made us all feel hot and sticky. Mom dragged her feet as she made her way from the driver's seat to the bed in the back of the RV. As the sun set and darkness took hold of the campsite, I could hear a symphony of a million crickets just outside. Then something in the darkness caught my eye. It was something I had never seen before. So I'm going to pause for just a moment and remind you. So here I'm including the sentence about how I was feeling, what the feel of the night was like. I include the sentence where I was showing, not telling. I didn't just tell you Mom was tired. I showed you because she dragged her feet as she made her way from the driver's seat to the bed. So I didn't tell you she was tired, but you can tell that she's tired by the way that she dragged her feet and the fact that she's going to the bed. And then here is where I included one of my sentences from before. I could hear a symphony of a million crickets just outside. And I left it on a little bit of a cliffhanger. It was something I had never seen before. So this is the paragraph that you're going to be writing today. I also forgot to change this and make it say body paragraph number 2. So, just outside the window, tiny lights floated in the air and then disappeared. They appeared again. I got my little brother's attention and we stared out at the small blinking lights. "We need to get out there," I whispered to him. I looked to our mom, lightly snoring on her bed. We crept lightly to the door and began to open the hatch. A squeak. My brother and I looked at our mom, nervous of what she would think if she saw us leaving the RV without supervision. Her body shifted, but she stayed asleep. We opened the door, and the smell of fresh rain filled our noses as we stepped out. So again, I'm not even telling you about the fireflies yet. I'm just telling you about the first part of the most exciting part of the story. So, I'm telling you about how we could see the tiny lights floated in the air and then disappeared. That's just using that like neat creative language that helps to build a picture in your head. Instead of just saying there were fireflies outside, I'm saying tiny lights floated in the air and then disappeared. I haven't actually even told you what they were, but you could probably take a guess that they were fireflies even without me telling you that. Again, I showed instead of told you because I said we looked to our mom lightly snoring on her bed. I didn't just say, Mom was sleeping. No, I used way more descriptive language. I said she was lightly snoring on her bed. And then here, I included a sentence that utilizes my senses. It says, we opened the door and the smell of fresh rain filled our noses as we stepped out. So as you're writing, try to include little bits like that. These instances where you're showing, not telling, using your senses in the story, and they will make your writing so much more creative. This paragraph was about 10 sentences long. Some of them were really short though, like they appeared again, a squeak. So I wouldn't really count it as 10. I'd probably count it more like 8 sentences, but yours needs to be 5 to 7. If it ends up being a little bit longer, that's okay too. Just use 5 to 7 as a guideline. But that is your job today. Oh my gosh, I forgot to change everything today. Your job is to complete body paragraph 2, I should say 2 right there, in your story. It needs to be 5 to 7 sentences long, and you can use slides 7, 10, and 11 to help you. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm always here to help you. But I will let you just jump into it. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.